Good afternoon, everyone. I am Jones Harwell, and this is Journeys with Jones Harwell. Waiting for our guest of the hour to arrive. She should be here shortly. And while we're waiting, just wanted to do a quick advertisement plug. Stay tuned for a major announcement that will be on all of my social media pages tomorrow at 12 noon. Got some exciting news to share, so I hope you guys tune in and listen to what I'm getting ready to present to you. Also, this is the last day of Black History Month as it is celebrated in the United States. I celebrate some type of Black history every day, 365 days a year since I've been living. But just a recap of this month of some of the exciting programs that I was able to participate in as a listener and a presenter. Our signature entrepreneur and masterminds group, we had our Black History program earlier this month, and what an exciting platform it really was, the singing, all of the guests talking about who in their lives that they looked up to, admired as a mentor or a advocate leadership within our Black communities, and as well as everybody on the panel, because everybody on the panel had something to present, something great to give us. That was wonderful. Got a chance to talk with Dr. Sandra Truesdale, the historian, one of the historians of Washington, D.C., her knowledge about the city, growing up in segregated times, being part of city council, the school board, the founder and historian of Black music within the district, Maryland and Virginia, DC legendary musicians. She is a tireless advocate in her community, working with musicians, working with the elderly, working with whoever needs her. She is there. Enjoyed that conversation with her. And in talking with her, we've jotted some notes. So I'm doing a little research, and we may have another platform coming out for you guys monthly. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. Tomorrow's guest, if you all can tune in, I guarantee you, you will not want to miss tomorrow's show. And I'm going to talk about that guest in just a moment. We also had an opportunity late last month to talk with my brother. And if you've not caught his show on IG Live, The Soul Strategist, it is some engaging conversations. I have truly enjoyed spending my Saturday evenings learning about relationships, not only between men and women, but things that we have to do ourselves in order to better ourselves, to have the relationships that we are looking for, that means the most in our lives. So today's guest, I'm really excited to interview her. I have known this young lady for quite some time, have watched her grow up, and just the career paths that she has taken since leaving high school, going on to college, is just amazing. She continues to find her way and find the service that she is so intent on providing to whatever platform she is looking to do. So waiting for her to come. I know she had a class this afternoon, so maybe it's running a little bit late. and we should be seeing her shortly. Hello to Gina. Thanks for tuning in this afternoon. Still waiting for my guest here, but if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy. We can talk about anything and everything until she gets here. So um, I had mentioned that, of course, this is the end of Black History Month. And the most exciting thing that came to me as a writer, and I do love to write. My platform is mainly fiction, but anybody who has been to college or been in the workforce knows that you write business proposals or you write business letters, responses to customers. As a student, there, of course, were term papers for whatever subject matter you were taking at the time. And I am a journalism undergraduate major. That was my major in undergrad school. So there were plenty of papers that we had to write for journalism. I did some editing and was a editor and publisher of my newspaper when I was a student at the University of District of Columbia at one point in time. We had to do advertising markups. You learn a little bit about screenwriting, creative writing if you're a creative writer. If you are a journalist background, you know, there are the 5 W's that you do within any research, and that's any research that you're doing for any platform, any subject matter. You do those 5 W's to make sure that you get all of the information in: the why, who, when, where, and how. Here comes our guest of the hour. So let me go ahead and bring her in so we can get started.
Hey, Miss Harwell.
Hello, sweetie pie. I can call you sweetie pie along with mom. So
Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna still call you sweetie pie, but I'm gonna try now to say Miss Tyreen. Welcome to Dr. White, who came on board, and Byron Dietz. Thank you for joining us today. I'm going to introduce the young lady who is graciously joined us. She's going to share some nuggets with me. I'm going to share some nuggets with her. We're going to talk about podcasting, life coaching, and some other things. So, ladies and gentlemen, the young lady gracing our screen is Mrs. Tyreen Taylor. She is an entrepreneur, the CEO of Wisewalk Virtual Solutions. You're an author, and so is your daughter. We're going to talk about that. Podcaster and director of Victory Christian Academy, as well as a certified life coach. Welcome. Welcome.
Thank you.
Now, I have known you. I'm not going to say how long I've known you, but I have known you, watched you grow up, watched you go away to college, watch you come back and start your career. And every time I see you and another gentleman that I'm going to try to get on our show, Gene, you guys learn how to pivot, and you have always been about service. So tell me about your new adventure, or your new venture when I saw it, that you, like me, started podcasting.
Yes. So it was actually a goal of mine back in 2018, but I never really took any action on it. You know, I kind of was playing the complacent role. And then last year during the pandemic, when I had so much extra time, I'm like, let me actually research and figure out how can I create a podcast. And then I actually started it last October. So still, still super fresh. I'm still always looking for subscribers and listeners, but I really love it. And then you kind of talked about the life coaching. So that's really what also made me do it, because I learned so much as I was becoming certified as a life coach that it's all about our mindset. So that's kind of what I put in the book and what I do, for my podcast.
And I love the name of it because you talk about Wisewalk. It doesn't matter what your age is. We all have walked and lived different experiences, but it's how you take those experiences and you channel them into something positive to give back to the community.
Yes.
So when does your podcast normally air?
So I normally post a new episode every Sunday. So I don't do them live. I'm not fancy yet with it. So, I still mess up occasionally. So I just pre-record it and then I typically release them every Sunday evening.
Okay. I had, like you, had thought last year when, of course, COVID came and I was sitting at home and people had, I finally took the plunge to say, okay, I'm going to help other people tell their stories.
Mm-hmm.
And so I, helped two young ladies publish their books. And of course, I write fiction.
Mm-hmm.
So people say, where do you get that imagination from? I've always had it. But I was slowly doing every once in a while, I would go live, just to talk. And then finally in January, I said, why am I sitting on the one thing that I know everybody has always told me they loved? My
Mm-hmm.
voice. My voice. So I just jumped in and said, okay, I'm just going to go live and I'll do the live interviews. It gets me back into that interviewing habit. It gets the creative juices flowing. And then I pull the audio off and then I upload it for those folks that cannot catch it live. So they have
Mm-hmm.
a different avenue and different platforms to be able to still tell their story. And the one thing that I loved about this month that it finally just kind of clicked with me because I've been pulling different um, I had been pulling different logos and hashtags as they finally clicked with me. And all of this month, I have been saying, on my tags, my story, my history, my journey.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what Journeys with Jones Harwell is all about. Giving individuals, extraordinary people like you, a platform to be able to share their stories because sometimes you hit that right person that just needs that little pick me up that, hey, they did it. I can do it too. Or, hey, they made my day.
Yes, yes, that's exactly how I feel, Miss Harwell. That's exactly how I am. I'm literally doing it. It doesn't matter if 20 people tune in or one. Like, if I can help or just kind of direct somebody in the right direction, then I'm satisfied. And I really love when I get, feedback back when people say, oh my gosh, you made me see something differently, or I started this new goal because, of one of your episodes. So I'm like, that's exactly what I do it for. I just, like you said in the beginning, it's all about service. Like, that's just me. I love helping people. I love serving people. And if I know I can do something to make their life better, I'm going to try.
Mhm. Now, I have known you since a young girl to wear many hats. And at one point in time, you were an athlete like your sister, because I know
Yeah.
your younger sister is still in college. Is she close to graduating or is she still a year?
No, she's a freshman. Yeah,
Okay,
she's
so
still
she's
a
like,
freshman. Yeah, she's
wow.
a freshman.
Okay,
Yes.
so that's right, because Jelon graduates this year and she was a
Yeah.
whole year older.
Mm-hmm.
So, tell me the exciting story because you're not the only entrepreneur in your house.
Mm-hmm.
There's a young lady who wrote her first book. Talk about her book.
Yeah. So the pandemic, once again, the pandemic kind of just woke up a lot of things in us, I guess. So, as you know, I have a 5-year old and a 1-year old. So my 5-year old loves being a big sister. Like, it's crazy how much she loves it. I love it. But so she came to me one day and she's like, I really want to write a book. And I'm like, okay. So I'm thinking she's just, well, at the time she was 4. So I'm like, okay, I just kind of brushed it off. And then a few days later, she came back and she's like, are we going to start the book yet? So I'm like, oh, wait, she's serious. So let me research and figure out how can I do this. So we figured it out. And then, she told me everything to write. She picked out the pictures. So we just did it. It was honestly a really good experience. Like, it was a really nice bonding time. Every day we dedicated, a couple hours just to work on her book. And then when it actually came in the mail, like, she was just so like amazed. And I'm like, yes, that's good. Like, you're only 4, so let's keep this up. Like, let's keep wanting, to put yourself out there and to do things that,
Right. And that's actually it. And you say entrepreneur, but you're more than just an entrepreneur. You wear a lot of hats. And that as a publisher and an author and an educator. because part of that is you also have your Victory Christian Academy. Talk about that.
So that one's under construction. So I'm going to save that for the next episode when I come back to join you.
All right.
Um, yes, but yes, I am, education field has just always been my calling. Like I just, once again, it's that service piece. And I love being able to direct children because they're always so eager to learn. Once we get kind of older, we kind of just kind of let life take us, we just go with it. But kids are just always asking why and what if and things like that. So, that's really my passion, like just being able to be around kids and just, direct them into the right paths.
Hmm. But you found a way to segue that to helping adults too with the life coaching. And
Mhm.
let's talk a little bit about the book that you did that's in conjunction with that and the journal that you have.
Sure. So the gratitude workbook is a 22-day gratitude challenge. So I started this book because once again, when I went through the life coaching class to get certified, they had us do like different gratitude, daily entries. And when I tell you, it literally changed my perspective. I was able to see things differently. I was literally like, my heart was just so grateful. In the morning, I would wake up and just, it was just like a power or spirit that just came over me that I've never felt before. So I'm like, wait, I have to share this. I'm like, I can share it in the podcast, but it's better if we write it down. So that's what made me, start the journal. So I'm like, I need something interactive. I can't just, talk the whole book and then people just read. They need to write down their own, gratitude entries. So that's what made me go ahead and do that gratitude journal.
Oh, okay. That's great. And the new rule I'm hearing is that because they normally say that you break a habit or you create a habit within 21 days, but it's
Mm-hmm.
that 22nd day. If you
Yes.
doing it that 22nd day, it
Yep.
is the day that it becomes ingrained. So I love
Yes.
to say that it's a 22-day journal.
Yes, yes. That's exactly why I picked 22 days because of that. I'm like, us, life, like I said, life hits us hard sometimes. So we have to be consistent. But once you complete the 22 days, I'm telling you, like you can go back to your journal anytime you want, especially when you're having those bad days, those dark days. You go
Mhm.
back through and you look at what you wrote. It's not something that someone else wrote that you can't relate to. You wrote it. So that at that point, when you wrote that, you were grateful. So it kind of makes your day better if you are going through something.
Mhm. Yes, yes, I get it. I definitely get it. I definitely get it. So if you had to give advice to anyone, let's say I'm going to pick on somebody that you know,
Mhm.
uh, my son, because you know I'm a
Okay.
son.
Hmm.
What advice would you give him as a senior getting ready to segue from high school now to life that he's responsible for himself?
That's a good one, Miss Harwell. So honestly, like I always say, is just follow your heart. Like I know it sounds kind of cliche, but just do what makes you happy. Like you have to figure out, and sometimes you have to figure it out by actually doing it. So, don't get upset with yourself if maybe, you have two or three different jobs until you figure out whatever your passion truly is.
Mm,
And like give yourself a break. It's okay to make mistakes. That's how I learned life. Like I'm
mhm,
not perfect. I'm nowhere near where I want to be. And I'm still new. I'm still new to the podcast. I'm still new to the gratitude book or even being an author. Like I'm still new to everything. And I always tell people I don't even consider myself an entrepreneur, yet I'm an inspiring entrepreneur until I reach a certain peak. Then I'll say, okay, yes, I can wear that title and I can wear it proudly. So right now, I'm just trying. I'm just putting myself out there and I'm just doing what I know God wants me to do. So that's what I would tell him, to try different things, follow your heart, do what God wants you to do, and listen to God because He will direct us. And sometimes we don't listen and we kind of find out the hard way. We kind of got to go around the block 3 times instead of once because we kind of ignore God when we know He was telling us, go this route. And then sometimes it's even fear, that holds us back. So those would be a few things I would tell them. Just go after it, follow your heart, do what God wants you to do, and do it well. Like just give it your all, whatever you do, even if you don't know if that's what you want to do. Just put 110% in, and you'll get a return, you know?
Yes, and I like that because it has no age limit. I sat
Mm-hmm.
on my gifts for a long time, but it was
Mm-hmm.
always somebody mentioned to me once, God has a way of always bringing that opportunity back around to you. No matter how
Mm.
many times you ignore him, right? You don't listen, you don't look, you don't pay attention. He will always bring that opportunity or bring something, someone back in your path to put you
Yes.
back on that right way that you should go. And
Yes.
so, people looked at me and they were like, she wrote a book at 50, and she published it at
Mm.
57, 50, almost 57 years old. But I sat on the book since high school.
Wow.
Sat on the character, kept changing her story a little bit, but she would not leave my brain. She would
See?
never leave my brain. She
That's
was
how you
always
know.
there in the back of my brain. And
Yeah.
so I wrote it. And then the first thing people said to me, well, is it a Christian book? And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
no, the first one is not a Christian book.
Mm-hmm.
As a writer, you have to realize, because I thought, okay, I'm just going to be in this pigeonhole.
Mm-hmm.
And then God said, why? I didn't create you to be in a pigeonhole. I created you to be a writer. Okay. I gave you the skills to be able to interview people. I gave you the vision to see beyond
Mm.
just this narrowness. Okay. So my genre is mystery and suspense. I love that. But
Mm-hmm.
I turned around and wrote a sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting ready to publish and, be a part of an anthology.
Oh
And
wow.
so, yes, so, I just had to say that journalist in me that still wanted to be able to be behind the scenes to tell the story, to allow
Mm-hmm.
people to tell their stories.
Yeah.
Everybody has something that can brighten someone's
Yes.
life.
Yes. And it's funny, Miss Harwell, I say the same thing. I always say you can't sleep on your gifts because you don't know who needs it. So I think it's a quote or phrase where it says, be the person you needed when you were younger. So that's
Mm,
kind of what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be what I needed. Luckily I was very blessed because I've had a lot of role models and mentors, even when I was younger that kept me on the right path. But
yeah,
like you said, you never know if you don't do what God is telling you to do and what you feel in your heart. And is what he wants you to do when you can't get it out your head. Like, just like me with childcare. It's like, I tried to step away, but then it just keep popping back up, keep popping back up. I'm like,
mhm,
okay, God, I hear you, I see you, I feel you. So I
mhm.
know that's where I need to be back in, that service industry.
Yes, yes. And I know when I first met you, you weren't doing that because we were actually neighbors. That's how,
Yes.
we met. And your parents always supported you and both of your sisters.
Yes.
I mean, it was, you could see it. You could see
Yes.
that family support, that love. You guys are always been really close. And so when you started doing this stuff, after school, before you went to college, and
Mm-hmm.
you came back and you were doing some stuff, and
Yeah.
then you went back.
Oh, I'm always in some stuff, Miss Howard. That's what my mom always say. She always say, "You always in some stuff." I'm like, I
Yes,
know. I'm trying.
yes.
I'm trying to figure it out, Mom.
But 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 the great thing is that every pivot that you made, my son could see that he still had that mentorship
Oh.
with you, with Jean, with Kia.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just amazing the paths that you guys took at a young age, that you knew
Mm-hmm.
exactly what you wanted and
Yes.
exactly where you knew you needed to be.
Yes. Yes. Yes, Miss Harwell. And that's one of my mentors that I was talking about. Like I said, when I come back on the next episode, I'll talk more. But he was like that quote I said, be that person you needed when you were younger. Like
Mhm.
he is that person that I needed and still need, till this day because it's just awesome. Like some of the things that we're working on, and it's just all, led by God, and it's just great. Like I'm just excited. Honestly, I'm just truly optimistic. I'm excited about the things that are coming. It's just great. Like I said, I don't know. I get so excited. I get lost for words because I just know everything is going to come together and we're going to be able to touch, so many different people's lives, not just children, but just
Right.
everything that, that we're working on. So I'm really excited and I'm so grateful for him, like, honestly.
Yes, yes. I mentioned to him, that I wanted him to come on the show. He hasn't got
Mhm.
back to me. And the nice thing is I can still walk around the corner
Yes,
and knock on his door. That's how
yes,
close
yes,
we are. It's like we always seem to land in the same area.
yes.
So, what have you got going on that's in the future for you? What's coming
Um,
up?
So right now I'm really focusing on honestly just self-development. Like I'm just trying to be the best me that I can be. I'm really focusing on bettering the podcast. I'm focusing on improving the book, based on everybody's feedback and a few other different things. But I'm kind of like, I just have tunnel vision. Like I said a while ago, 2021 is my year to be fearless. So, I
Mm,
never go live. So this is a part of getting out my box. Like,
mhm.
even though I'm a millennial, you would think, oh, she probably goes live. Never went on live. Never did a podcast, never wrote a book. So it's like, I'm really getting out of my comfort zone. So I'm honestly just letting God lead me. Like, if he tells me to do something, I'm going for it. Like I said, I'm giving it 110%. I'm just here for feedback. I'm just here to learn, honestly. Like I really want to be able to make a difference. I know a lot of people say that, like, oh, I want to change the world. Like, I'm cool with that too, but I really want to be able to just touch, if I could touch one person each week, whether it's listening to the podcast or the book or, even with childcare, whatever the case may be, I just want to be able to help people. Honestly, I know, it sounds cliche, but I mean it. That's what I feel God is leading me to. So I'm honestly just stepping out on faith and doing a lot of things that I never thought I would do.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what, I'm reading some of the comments, and they are my brothers and sisters in our business group, Signature Entrepreneurs and Masterminds. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna tell you a couple of things that they're saying to you. Gina says, we must stop sitting on our gifts. You mentioned that.
Mm.
Sharon Terry says, I love it. Awesome. Gina also says, fearless. And that's what I see in you.
Thank
And
you.
sometimes people have to be reminded that it's okay to step out.
Mm.
I think the other day I did just a promo, and it was somebody jumping over a cliff. They were jumping between
Mm.
cliffs. And I said, sometimes you just have to do it, period.
Mm.
Jump.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
You said you're going to make mistakes, but you can't allow that mistake to stop the forward progress. You still have to learn from that mistake and said, okay, maybe I didn't quite do that right. Maybe I need to jump a little, start my run
Right.
a little bit before I
Right.
jump. You know,
Mm-hmm.
still, that's, I think, the biggest thing that people stops them from success or stops them from doing what they really, are passionate about
Yes.
is fear.
Yes. I 100% agree, Ms. Harwell. I'm telling you, 100%, because it's simple things that hold me back. Like it could be even going live. I'm like, oh, what if I mess up? Or what if I don't talk clear? But it's like at some point you kind of have to flip the switch. That's what I always say. You either have to flip it on or off. Either you're gonna flip it on and you're gonna go for it. You're just gonna go. Or you're gonna have it off and you're just gonna, just do the level. That's what I would say. Like you're just riding, riding the train or riding the bus, and that's okay. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. Or you can flip the switch on and take what comes with it. Like I said, I'm nowhere near. I got to put emphasis on the nowhere near, where I'm trying to get to. But I took that first step, and that's just what I'm doing. I just keep taking step by step by step. Like, some people may look on the outside looking in thinking, oh, she's probably already climbed 10 steps. No, I only climbed maybe one. The stairwell is who knows how many steps there are to the staircase, but I took one. And then, that's why I'm here now. And then I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep taking 2 and 3 and go from there and just see what happens.
Yes, indeed. Dr. Larry White said that fear, and he has an acronym for it, is false evidence appearing real.
Mm,
Mm,
that's deep.
that is very
I
deep.
like
That
that. I
is
really
very,
like that.
that
And you
is
know, it's
very,
funny, Miss Hartwell, too, because I really agree with that. Because many times when we think, we want to do something or we want to go somewhere, whatever the case may be, and then we get these ideas in our head, and half of the ideas, they don't even exist. Like our brain literally comes up with these crazy scenarios that they're not even going to happen in what you're trying to do. But because we are, that's just how we are as humans. Like we like to be comfortable. Even our brain, even our brain likes to be comfortable. So as soon as you start to get out of that comfort zone, you're going to come up with so many warning signs, so many excuses, and just you're going to clam up. So it's either, like I said, you're going to have the switch on and you're just going to keep going and keep going through the fear. And it's not easy because, as I keep saying, I'm nowhere near where I want to be yet, but I'm just trying. I just try to do something different every day. I try to stay focused. I try to stay optimistic, and it's not easy. Some days when I'm like, oh, what am I doing? Like, am I doing the right thing? Or maybe I should stop. Maybe I should do this. Or maybe, you question yourself, which is fine. You just got to keep going if that's what you really want.
I tell you what happens to me when that little bit of doubt creeps in. God always plants a person or a seed to tell me that I'm still on the right path that he wants me to be.
Mm,
And for me, it has been such a big difference in my keep moving forward. And I always
mm,
tell people I have a story. My one of my biggest job interviews that took me from just working as a secretary into an actual career that I did IT for 30 years. And I was a federal employee still at the time. And I walked into a room and it was a panel interview.
mm,
So my seat was at the door. It seemed like it was right at the door. And about, 20 feet up, 25 feet up is, a table, about 6 or 7 people sitting there, right?
mm,
And I'm thinking, oh my gosh. First off, I'm thinking I'm not prepared, I'm
mm,
not prepared. And I sit down and I have on my best suit and everything, and I'm sitting. And, I don't have anywhere to put my arms. So, I'm resting them in my lap, and trying to make sure I'm sitting ladylike, so, my legs are together because I've got on this skirt. And the first gentleman that spoke to me, he says, I see that you're going to school. And back then I was going part time because I
mm,
didn't finish my undergraduate degree. I went back to school, I think when Jelon started second grade.
mm,
And and he said, "What does communications have to do with IT?" Now I'm still focused on the table 25 feet away with 7 people sitting at it, and I'm like, "The hell if I know." And I said it out loud. I said it out loud, and I'm thinking, "I just blew this interview." That's what I was thinking to myself. I blew it. I blew it.
mm,
But the guy liked my honesty. And
mm,
I knew nothing about IT, but I would come in early
mm,
and I just kept dog paddling till I finally
mhm,
got it. And that's always been my motto in life. I
mhm,
will dog paddle till I learn how to swim. And
mhm,
once I learn how to swim, you can't tell me nothing.
mhm,
And then you just go on to the next. So it's good, to what you're doing, and I commend you. So you may think that you have taken one step, but young lady, let me tell you, you have caught the attention of a lot of people.
Oh,
You are doing a great service. I have listened to your podcast. It's well put together. It
thank
is
you.
it's nice. You got it going on. You have stepped out there with doing the authorship and doing journals and creating that generational wealth and legacy, because the legacy is what we leave,
Mhm,
right? So you
mhm,
have started that within your own girls, even though your baby is one, but your oldest daughter. So she sees that entrepreneurship in you already, that she knows that she's going to go out and hustle and get things instead
Mhm.
of, I think our generation, for a couple of generations, we got complacent because a lot of us
Mm.
stopped being, somebody said a lot of us stopped being entrepreneurs.
Mm.
So, where my grandparents and maybe your grandparents, had a small shop on the side, or I know there were farmers and seamstress that were in my generation line. My grandmother was a seamstress. She was one of the first Black seamstress for Saks Fifth Avenue.
Oh, wow.
Um, and so it just, but she sewed on the side too. When she
Mhm.
first moved to DC in 1937, she was a cook. So
Mm.
she worked on 14th Street, 14th and U.
Mhm.
So that history of DC is important to me because parts of my family have been here since 1937 in this area.
Wow.
And so it becomes important, that legacy, that we turn over that information and we turn over these trades and we continue to talk about these things to our children.
Mhm.
And I love that about you. And I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to make a prediction here that it won't be before the end of the year. You'll step out again.
Mhm.
You're going to step out live, and you're going to step out doing workshops.
Okay.
I see it.
Okay, Miss Harwell.
I see it. Whatever
Okay.
help that I can give and help you, you guys know I'm always a phone call
Yes.
away.
Yes.
But I see that in you, and it's such a positive thing. And I'm so proud of you guys and so proud of you.
Thank you.
So tell people where they can find your podcast, because I'm sure you have it on more than just one platform.
Yes, yes. So you can search Wisewalk podcast on all of the major podcast platforms. So like Google, Android, Apple Play, Spotify. Literally, I think is on almost every single platform. Um, and then yeah, so just search Wisewalk podcast, or you can follow me on Instagram at mygodisgood_ and click the link in my bio, and you can click on a different podcast links for you.
Wonderful, wonderful. So as you continue to add to your media platform and to your wider range of entrepreneurships, things that you were doing, and once the academy comes live and you guys got that going, I'm going to be still in contact with you so you can come back and talk about it again.
Okay.
Anything you would like to leave our audience with today?
I just want to say thank you. Thank you guys for watching and listening in. Please check out the podcast and purchase the gratitude book and let me know what you think. Like, honestly, I love feedback because, as I've stated multiple times, I'm new to this. I'm no expert yet. I will be, but I'm not an expert yet. And I'm always looking to learn new things and develop myself. So if you guys hear something, or, maybe you have a topic that I should talk about, whatever the case may be, I am open ears.
Great, great. And I'm going to say one last piece of advice that I'm going
Mhm.
to give you from one of my mentors and business partners, Dr. Larry White Sr. He says, speak it into existence.
I agree.
Speak it into existence. All righty, ladies and gentlemen, you have been listening to the brilliant, wonderful Tyreen Taylor. Check out her podcast, Wisewalk Podcast. She normally posts on Sundays, but you can reach out to any of your digital platforms that you listen to podcasts on and just Google her. You'll find her. And give me your website on Instagram one more time.
My username is mygodisgood_ That's my personal, or you can search Wise Walk Podcast, and I post daily quotes on there. Not my own quotes, but I get like the popular quotes, and I post every day. So if you need some daily motivation, you can follow that page as well.
All righty, all righty. Kiss your babies for me. Say
I
hello to your
will.
husband and your
I will.
parents. I am Jones Harwell, and you have been listening to Journeys with Hope. Woo! Journeys with Jones Harwell. I should get my own title right, right? These are the things that we learn when you go live. You just
Yeah.
keep going, and be able to laugh at yourself and grow from yourself. So
Yes.
tomorrow, if everybody can catch my show, I have a treat. I have a treat. Last summer, I met this young lady. She is an Air Force veteran, but she has a passion. She loves to sing.
Mhm.
And she is amazing. She goes back and she pulls those big band hits, early hits. She is going to be singing live
Oh,
tomorrow
wow.
on my show. So tune in 6:30 Eastern Time. We will have Sabrina Norton Morris on the show. And I'm telling you guys, you are in for her treat. Her husband is going to join us. He is also an Air Force veteran and plays a mean saxophone. So thank you for joining me today, Journeys with Jones Harwell, where your story is your journey becomes our history. Thank you guys. Have a great evening.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.